and at the bottom to top approach.
Stakeholders from across the political class, civil society organizations, development partners and religious bodies are advocating special seats to be reserved for women in elective and appointed political positions in Nigeria. This is a conclusion at a high-level stakeholders engagement in Abuja, organized by Stand to End Rape, to deepen the conversation on political gender-inclusive representation for women.
Well then, let's begin our conversation on issues shaping Nigeria's political and governance landscape, especially as it concerned the issue of anti-corruption war. Tonight, we have an exclusive sit-down with Mr. Ola Olukoyede, the Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, marking his very first televised interview since assuming office in 2023. Under his leadership, the EFCC has reported significant strides, including the recovery of several billions of naira, millions in dollars, and securing almost 4,000 or so convictions within a year. However, the Commission faces scrutiny of allegations of political interference, particularly concerns that its actions may be influencing defections to the ruling party. Tonight, we'll be having a conversation around the anti-corruption war, the nation at large, and how we can, if not kill corruption, how we can tame it. What is the effort of the EFCC in maintaining integrity and public trust in the face of all of these, sometimes criticisms coming from those who do not see enough of what EFCC is doing, or those who think they should be doing better? Let's get deeper into our conversation. I'm being joined by the chairman of the EFCC, Mr. Ola Olukoyede, who is live for us in his office in Abuja. Thank you so much, Mr. Olukoyede, for your time tonight.
Good evening, Chair. Thank you very much, and good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you so much. Let's begin. You assumed office, and you came with your assumption of office also came with a lot of controversy, because there are those who thought were interpreting the law in different ways, and the EFCC asked about whether or not you are fit for office and what the law says and what not. But you assumed office, and you said you have your eyes clear on the goal. You know what you wanted to do. You know what the EFCC should do. You've been in the EFCC before, and coming now as a chairman, you set high targets for yourself. Would you say that the EFCC has come up or meet up expectation? And can you give us like a summary of what the EFCC has looked like under your watch?
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you, Nigerians. Upon my appointment and assumption of office in October 2023, I sat with my team and we reviewed the activities of EFCC over the past 18 years then. And we arrived at the conclusion that going forward, we must build on some foundations that have been laid. We must review certain areas of the operations of EFCC in order to fully achieve our mandate. But I tell you, it's been quite challenging and quite eventful as well. So we settled down, we introduced some reforms, having been part of the system as Chief of Staff and as Secretary to the Commission. And I can tell you what we saw in our result in year 2024 was a product of the reform we introduced. We introduced some institutional reforms to our processes, our procedures, and we came to a conclusion that, look, this work of anti-corruption is not just about making noise, it's about harming people, it's about impact. And one of the things we agreed was to use the instrumentality of this work to stimulate the economy. And if you follow the trajectory, if you follow the way we have been handling our investigations and prosecutions, you will understand that surely that is the path we had followed in the last 1.5 years. So by and large, we settled down, we introduced reforms to our operations, reforms to our processes. We looked inwards, areas where we needed to firm up, areas where we needed to let our people know that the fight against corruption is no joke. and let our people know that governance is a serious business. And so we settled down. Immediately I assumed office, and the result is what we have seen so far. Thank you, Chiu.
You have presented a report that showed some level of improvement in the record of conviction and asset recovery of assets. These were attributed to reforms that you have mentioned, and that you said is going to be the way to go. Part of the reforms, you said, the EFCC was going to look inwards to ensure that you clean your house, and those who are from the inside corrupting the agency, you are going to weed them out. How many of those have you caught, weeded out, or taken out of the system?
Thank you very much, Sean. People have accosted me so many times asking this kind of question. And now it's important for us that if you are going to, I mean, for me as a person and for all my comrades in EFCC, that if you are going to fight corruption, you must fight it from the position of integrity. Because without integrity, corruption fighter, you don't have anything. And so we sank that into the mind of every operative in the FCC. And we look into records. We look at the cases of those who have pending disciplinary cases and those who have committed one infraction or the other, ranging from corruption to gross misconduct. And we came up with those cases, and we set up our disciplinary committee. And they found quite a number of them culpable, about 27 of them. We reviewed it, and we agreed that those people should leave the system. And I believe Nigerians knew that that was exactly what we did. And we didn't stop at that. There are so many pending cases that we are still working on. And as we begin to take the actions and apply sanctions as well, Nigerians will know how far we have gone. But so far, I think that we've been able to weed out about 27 people that we found their character not worthy of being part of this crusade. Thank you.
Now, has that in any way helped you to refocus? Because it was as though some of these bad eggs are a major problem to the progress of the EFCC. And it also comes on the heels of those who criticize the EFCC, that there are those who collect bribes, and when EFCC arrests people, there are ways you bribe your way through, and you can dodge prosecution, so no matter, so far you can bribe people. And there are those who believe that in the EFCC there are selective prosecution. And there are those who say, if you write a petition to the EFCC, if you don't go and work it on the inside, it might not work through. Has that fixed the system? Because you came and you said you wanted to do a lot of reforms. And I know a lot of Nigerians will agree with you that there is a lot of rot within the EFCC when you assume office.
Thank you very much, Chun. And like I said earlier, and I'm still going to allude to what I said, that will review those cases. Now, I won't sit here and tell you that so far that we've gone, everybody has become a saint in the FCC. There is no time. That day will never come that everybody will be a saint. People working in the EFCC are human beings, they are not spirits. So there will be this propensity for some people to misbehave, for overzealousness and all of that stuff. But the promise I made to Nigerians is as soon as we discover all characters, we will do something about them in line with our processes and in line with our regulations, in line with law. And that's exactly what we have done. Now, by that, you'll see some measure of a discipline on part of our operatives now, perhaps more than before. You'll see some measure of commitment on part of our operatives, perhaps more than before. You'll see some measure of awareness that, look, EFCC is a creation of law. And so if we are going to survive and we are going to deliver on our mandate, we must also operate within the confines of the law. And so we have sunk that into the mind of all our operatives. And I can assure you, for me, I may not be able to judge, but for those people who, let me patronize the services of EFCC, people have been writing petition and all of that, if they will be fair to the commission, they will attest to the fact that things have changed, particularly about the disposition of our operatives, and about the attitude to work, and about their commitment to discipline and integrity.
Now, let's get into one area that has got a lot of Nigerians debating and talking. and it's about the 2027 general elections. And as those being, we've seen a lot of defections, movement across the political divides by politicians moving from one party to the other. The one that has caught a lot of people's attention is those that have moved from the PDP to the APC. And there are kissing fingers being pointed in the direction of the EFCC as the agency being leading the supposed hounding of members of the opposition are being used by the ruling party to coerce members of the opposition.
We read minutes or whatever we do. I'm not a politician. And as far as I know, no member of my operatives is deeply involved in politics. So we do our work in line with our mandate. And what's our mandate? That if somebody is found to have involved himself or herself in corrupt practices, financial crimes, it's our duty to investigate. If such people are found culpable, or if we're able to establish predication, to go to trial, to prosecute. And I've stayed within the confines of that mandate. And Nigerians will attest to it. Now, coming to the issue of somebody being investigated, ended up in joining a political party, you agree with me, I have not been appointed as the secretary or the chairman of any of the political parties, so that it will be part of my mandate to begin to draw people into any political party. And if Nigerians will also be fair to us, if you take the statistics of our work in the area of investigation, prosecution, particularly high-profile cases, you perhaps find more of members of the ruling party. Some of the cases that we've done. And so we must also be judged fairly. If you find members of prominent, not just members, prominent members of the ruling party, some of the people that have investigated and we have filed charges against. And so for us to close our eyes to members who perhaps are not people who perhaps are not members of the political party, or the ruling party rather, would be unfair to us and would be an injustice on our part. And I need to say this to Nigerians, with every sense of humility. My mandate is, if I discover you have stolen money, you will have questions to answer. Whether you are of APC, or you are of PDP, or you are of Labour Party, or you are of NPP, or you are of SDP, if a member of APC has stolen money, you will have case to answer. If a member of PDP has stolen money, it's like sandpaper, it won't digest in your tummy. You have case to answer. And so irrespective of your political affiliation or alienation, it is our duty to make sure that we do the right thing. And so for us, the issue is, have you committed an offense, allegedly committed an offense? Have we discovered issues that you need to answer for? That is what drives our processes, that is what drives our action. And so our political, I don't belong to any political party, and to the best of my knowledge, we have not been influenced to do our work in such a way that is against our mandate or the process of law. And so that is what has guided our actions.
A very popular member of the APC has once said that when politicians move to the APC from other political parties, their sins are forgiven. And a lot of Nigerians perhaps will remember that saying. But let me ask you specifically.
Hello,
can you hear me?
Hello, Chief, can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right, let's take a breather, everyone. And perhaps when we return, we will reconnect.
Hello, Chief.
Yeah, can you hear me now? Oh,
I can hear you now.
Let's go ahead with the conversation since you can hear me. I was making allusion to a very popular statement made by a very prominent member of the APC sometimes back. And he said that politicians' sins are forgiven once they move into the APC. And those who believe that when opposition members are being hounded, as soon as they move to the APC, it does look like they get a soft landing. And I'm going to ask you a specific question, Mr. Chairman. It is said, and there are accusations coming from the opposition forces, saying that Senator Ifeanyi Okowa, a former governor of Delta State, joined the APC because he's under investigation by the EFCC and was joining the APC part of the administrative bail conditions given to him by the EFCC. Did you bail him on that condition?
I don't know about what you're talking about, Shiv. And I've said that, I've told you, and I've told Nigeria, politics has not been introduced into part of the mandate of EFCC. And we are strictly guided by the provisions of the law. We are strictly guided by the fact that if we find that suspiciously found that somebody has, been involved in financial crimes or act of corruption, we look into it, and if there is a case to answer, we call you to answer the case. The particular case you mentioned, you will agree with me that we started that investigation way back. So for somebody to have now introduced politics into it, as if we envisaged that with somebody, we are going to use it as an instrument of bringing people to a political party. Number one, I'm not the secretary of any party, and neither am I the chairman of any party. Neither do I have the mandate to bring in to hand people into any party. That is clearly not my mandate. And like I told you, we are driven by the fact that, so if you discover people have committed financial crimes, we go after you, you have questions to answer, and if there are cases, if you've been able to establish predication, we'll prosecute you. That is what has guided our work. Now, let's take it further a bit. Nigerians should also know that, like I did say earlier, that we have had cause to investigate and prosecute prominent members of the ruling party. So could we have done that to chase them away from the party? Could we have done that to perhaps reinforce their commitment to the party? Other members of political, those who are not even members of political parties, have been investigated and prosecuted by EFCC. So why should we single out a case and say because this person has been investigated and afterwards, down the line, he now joined a particular political party? That is not my mandate here, and Nigerians should know that. That's not our mandate, and it will be unfair to judge the EFCC in such a manner.
Well, I mean, it's popular saying that he who pays the piper dictates the tune. The head of the ruling party is the president who appointed you into office. And the popular popular statement made by former governor of Lagos State, who says, may your loyalty not be tested. What Nigerians may be concerned about is whether... Hello everyone, welcome to the program. This is Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Sean Okimale here in Abuja tonight. Our attention is going to be about the EFCC, its activities, Mr. Olaolukoide, how he's directing the affairs of the EFCC, and some of the stories that you must have heard, and allegations by opposition party on the issue of those who are defecting and perhaps the hounding, allegations of a hounding of opposition figures to move into the APC, and of course some of the issues of those of you who register with that online fraudulent platforms, some of the latest that you need to know today. And let's begin by letting you know that the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to building an inclusive, peaceful and progressive Nigeria, one where every citizen, regardless of religion or ethnicity, has the opportunity to survive and thrive. This assurance was given by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, who represented President Bola Tinubu at the 2025 triannual meeting of the Nigeria Interreligious Council held in Owerri, the Imo State capital.
Voice is powerful. Let it be the voice that heals, the voice that unites, and the voice that uplifts. This meeting, therefore, presents us with an opportunity to reflect and realign, turning our present difficulties into opportunities. Urge us all to engage in honest dialogue, listen with empathy, and recommit ourselves to the ideas of justice, equity, tolerance, and mutual respect. These are not just religious virtues. They are the very pillars of national unity.
The chief host of that event and the governor of Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma, has called on Nigerians and leaders at all levels to build bridges of love, trust and understanding, strong enough to support and unite a resilient and inclusive nation.
It is a timely call to action. Without love, there can be no trust. And without trust, there can be no progress. Our beloved nation, more than ever, is a beacon, and we must answer to her by standing up to build bridges of love, bridges of trust and understanding, strong enough to carry us towards a united, varied, and inclusive nation.
All right, then, we are all set to speak with Mr. Ola Olukorede.